Hello, it's Yvonne Livingston, and I am talking with Jasmine Pena today, and we're going to continue our discussion about um, her journey with the medical community. But before we get started, I just wanted to say, how about that Super Bowl halftime last night? I didn't even get the chance to see all of it, but the little part that I did see was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. And let me just tell you, and you can disagree and we can talk about it because that's what I like to do. I like to talk anyway. I talk you to death. I mean, not literally, but you know, I, I can talk a lot. Ask anybody. But they had the hood on display last night with the crip walking, with the cars and the uniforms they had on. Like it was really reminiscent of what their videos were. And when they first got started, nobody wanted to see them on TV. Like nobody wanted to hear their music and the experiences they had. But so last night, they put it on display for the whole world to see how he lived in their community before they became famous. Because sometimes people just like to focus on the aftermath and not the before. They just want you to forget your past, but you can't. The war
And
on
what's
drugs
funny
was in
is,
California. It was heavy. They sent a lot of brothers to jail for something they now
oh,
made legal. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet because now I'm preaching. What'd you think about the show
um,
last night?
well, I'm gonna say that when you said the aftermath, actually, Dr. Dre do have an album called The Aftermath,
Oh, I didn't even know that.
and oh yeah, yeah, and it's pretty dope. Like I've always been um a DOC NWA fan, of course. In the 80s, it was, highly explicit, but kids back in the day, we snuck and listened to tapes,
Of course we
just
did.
like the other generations snuck and listened to Richard Pryor
For
albums
real.
to get that comedy going.
Yeah.
So, um,
And the curse
but
words. You can't forget the curse words. We can't
can't
sing them,
forget.
but that's a part of our
And
life. But go ahead.
oh yeah, oh yeah, the seeing them last night, you wouldn't have been able to imagine that they would have had a halftime show with rappers, like you said, that was from the hood, the neighborhood that they grew up in. Um,
And the
they
songs they
they probably
sang.
didn't even, and then they probably couldn't even imagine playing that, playing for the Super Bowl.
Right.
What I'm saying, because they didn't feel that they would have been accepted on that platform. And
Mhm.
here it is in 2022, not 1990, not 2000, but in 2022, we were allowed to see them. And it's not to say that other generations and other nationalities don't listen to it. It's just that what wasn't allowed, and they wasn't allowed to do what they did last night, as if they were going to be disruptive to families. But I'm glad that there was a level of their own creativity to show and freely express themselves and to be who they truly are as artists, because that's all I saw. I saw them genuinely enjoying themselves. Like it was like a kid in a candy store, a kid at the playground. They
Yeah.
had they did everything, and it
Yes.
wasn't just them. It was even down to how militant Kendrick Lamar was. All I saw in
I
his
ain't see him. I
performance
ain't see
was
him.
how Beyonce took on her Black Power movement. That is what Kendrick Lamar, as a Black man, put out there, and these brothers that was dancing with him was like literally everything. Like I couldn't move.
I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna
I
have to
could
find it so I
not.
can watch it.
Yep, couldn't move because that's how amazing they were. And I can't discuss Mary J. I can't do it. I won't let you pull me into it because Not only did this woman look amazing, not only did I want her boots, but the fallout at the end of her performance just to say, I did this. That was her drop the mic. It was
You're
really
going in
hard to
and out. I
focus on
think
the
maybe
football.
you're going in and out with your voice because I can't hear you. So if you have your headphones in, maybe you need to stop moving a bit. I don't know if that might be interrupting the signal, but I want to be able to hear what you're saying. Right.
It could be the room too, because the but can you hear me clearer now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. But again, Mary J. Oops. And style, everything was on stage last night. That's all I got to say. It's
Okay.
like, I didn't even know how to focus. Ball game after that. And we can't even
Still
talk about
going in and
50
out
Cent.
again. You still going in and out again. I'm sorry.
Okay. I wonder if it's better with just one. I usually just have one in.
Okay.
What about now?
Well, I can hear you, but it's like when you have a continual flow, that's when it gets kind of choppy.
Okay, it just did that to you too. Like
Yeah.
right before you said choppy, there was like an interference.
We gonna get this thing together. Okay.
Probably have to relocate. So give me a minute.
Okay, so we're back. As you heard, we had some technical difficulties, and Jesse has moved and gathered more light. Look at her. She's dope, right? She was concerned about what's in the background. I said, girl, this is all natural. I said, somebody want to see this better, they're going to build us a studio because we got questions. So we're going to wrap up talking about the Super Bowl before we jump right in and pick up where Jasmine left off at and really we're going to do some real quick conversations because we don't want y'all to sit and be watching a long video because we really do want to talk to you and talk about your experiences and even maybe encourage you or give you some tips on what you should do when dealing with the medical community about what your experiences are and how you look at your body. Okay, Jason, finish up with the Super Bowl. Mary J. Blige is what we was.
Yeah, we were definitely at Mary J. because everything about her was fabulous. Down to her voice, her energy. Again, I can't let go of the boots and I can't even wear heels. I will wear those in my wheelchair, on my sofa, doing laundry. Like this is how much I loved her appeal. And I just love the way it just felt like they wasn't just performing, but was truly being themselves. That's what it felt like. Not a concert or anything. It's like they was just showing authentic Blackness.
We're throwing out. I like to call it.
Oh yeah.
Because I just saw it was the energy in which they performed it. That's what I saw, because some people didn't like it and that's okay, right? But the little bit that I did see, it brought me a little happiness because I know what a bad rap Black people were getting back then, just for them being like that and dressed like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to put that, to put it into a different context for me, because I got to look at things in multiple different ways, I got to look at the artist's expression of what they couldn't do back then that now they're able to do for millions. It was a national platform.
Yes,
so that's what really made it important to me. So, and I want to go and switch off because, we can keep talking about this for hours probably. But you
Right.
said so I want to segue from you talking about Mary J. Blige's boots and how sexy they were, right? And
Mhm.
how you will wear them in your wheelchair,
Uh,
sitting on your couch
oh,
or doing laundry.
oh my God. Look,
Why wouldn't you be able to wear those shoes outside in public?
well, why I wouldn't even be able to stand up in them?
Yeah.
Well, um, is it is due to um, my new condition that I've been diagnosed with after contracting COVID while in rehab. It brought on a disease called transverse myelitis. So I deal with muscle weakness. I deal with not being able to control my muscles, um, not being able to move from the waist down at times. So
Now, it's some
there's
of that's
truly limitations.
yeah. And I remember previously before you got COVID that you were experiencing some of these things based on what happened to you in the beginning of when all of this started, your back injury, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so thinking about that, and you had some of those same conditions, and then bringing COVID on top of it, would you say it intensified it? It took it to a whole different platform because the when you first started talking about this earlier, you were talking about how you were on the mend and how you were progressing before you ended up with COVID, and COVID made you start all over again.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, COVID definitely took it to a whole different level.
Okay.
So what I was experiencing before um, were very specific because I had a herniated disc that affected a specific nerve that also triggered a very intentional disease called CRPS, which is chronic regional pain syndrome. When you get instant nerve damage, I did experience I did experience nerve muscle weakness in the right leg because of the nerve pain. You don't have regular sensation in it, but I did do excessive therapy, physical therapy, to just maintain where I was. And I did have moments to where I was in and out of rehab, in and out of the hospital. Sometimes it would range from two hospital visits, two rehab stays a year.
Mhm.
Um, and what transverse myelitis does, it affects my entire central nervous system.
Wow.
So not only do I lose control of my right leg, I lose control of my left leg. And at times I can't move my hands and arms.
So it's
And there
almost
is no,
paralyzing.
yeah,
And that's what COVID did when you got it. It intensified, sounds like what you're saying. And I'm not a medical person. I don't have any knowledge of it. But based on what you're saying, it intensified CRPS to the point where it wasn't just affecting one thing. Now it's your entire body.
well, the CRPS actually, um, their CRPS and transverse myelitis are two different, they affect the body differently.
Okay.
Although CRPS can spread, there are people who does have full body
Mhm.
CRPS, God bless him. But and it's to where their body burns. So like when you before transverse myelitis, when you would touch my right leg and foot, burning, no regular sensation, pain, that lingered. So even after I was touched, I will still feel it.
Okay.
CRPS, also it's a very sensitive condition. Like if you were to get close to me, or even like I can instantly feel your body heat before you even touch me. And on just that one leg alone, it would be too much. I wasn't able to tolerate socks, pants, shoes, any of those things. But when transverse myelitis entered into my system, because it became central nervous system, it takes over. Transverse myelitis, I literally feel, I don't know if other patients have are very in tune with their bodies, but I am. And what I can literally feel transverse myelitis in my spine. I can literally feel this condition affecting my nerves and my muscles. And what I mean by that is that I now have a hypersensitivity that is full body. So I have times now to where I can't even be hugged. You can't put your arms around me because my nerves are just that flared. My muscles, what transverse myelitis does, because it's misfiring your nerves. My muscles don't know how to react. So whether I'm walking, sitting, standing, it's getting the same message of just of like constant alert. So my body never feels calm. My body never feels relaxed. The only time this ends for me is when I go to sleep at night and then I wake up to it all over again.
Wow.
Transverse myelitis, does not, when I go through a flare, it doesn't have a off switch. And my recent flare that I had was on the 24th of January, after 4 days after I received my second vaccine. And
yeah, I remember you telling me you wanted to do that to protect yourself.
And what ended up happening, because COVID affected me neurologically, and that's also including your smell and taste,
right,
being gone, the headaches. When I received the second vaccine, although I was active, although I was less dependent on my wheelchair, less
yeah, no, I
dependent
saw you. You was driving too.
my leg braces, I was getting back to that. And 4 days after the injection, that day, the 24th, I was active. But by that night, when I tried to stand up, I knew it was back. I feel the pressure and pain in my spine constantly. That did taper off, which made me more independent. And I depend more on my wheelchair. I'm back to having days to where I can't get out of bed independently, getting dressed independently, taking showers. Now I need more assistance getting in and getting out. My
How does that
wife
make you
didn't.
feel? How does that make you feel having to go back to that type of physical ailment?
It's overwhelming because once I got past that part to where I got to my independence, I no longer had all these questions in my head to know if it was possible, right? You want to know if you'll feel normal, if you feel regular. And now that I'm fully in tune and aware of what's into my body, and I said that specifically because when this first hit me, when I had COVID in December of 2020, I dealt with temporary memory loss.
Yes,
So
I remember.
my short-term memory was affected. So a lot of things I wasn't tuned into. I was aware that my body was changing, but my mind wasn't there to comprehend. And now that, and just basically I wasn't present. But now that I am present and in tune with my body, it's challenging. It's challenging every single day to want to wake up, to want to get out of bed, to do anything, because the pain is too much. The pain, it's like a reminder of it's a reminder of COVID and what it did to my body and what it's constantly doing to my body.
So you
I
understand
just,
the nature of what it's doing. So it's not just something that's just in your head. It's physically changing your body. And
yeah,
mentally, you can feel it.
yeah,
Because the mental part of you feeling that is understanding that not only are you in pain, you understand what your body was able to do prior, because you
yeah,
wasn't born this way.
right.
You know, with circumstances that happened in your life that brought about this condition.
Yeah,
So that's why it's important to talk about these things, because something similar happened to me. And why you talking about this and so is so important, because most of us do have experiences like this, and we can't explain what goes on into our bodies, because we may have somebody telling us it's just in our head, like they did me. My doctors told me that
yeah,
it's in your head. You don't feel this pain. You can't
mhm,
be. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? But I live in my body. And so now you talking about this experience triggered that memory for me to
mhm,
say, man, a doctor told me that the pain that I was experiencing in my body was just in my head. And I thought it was. But when you have a doctor that can see an ailment and it's not just in your head, it can be explained through science.
mhm.
Because of what COVID did to you, having the virus, and then now having a vaccine. And which vaccine was it
Pfizer.
that made you have a moment of going back to when you had COVID and what it felt like? Because there's no
Mhm.
information about how COVID treats Black people, because we haven't talked about it. And now they're in the process of gathering this data. And it's real important that we tell them what happens to us when we get COVID, whether you have the vaccine or the disease. All of it is relevant.
Yeah.
every single bit. So thank you so much for sharing with us, and we're going to cut it out for today. But when we come back to redo this segment or to finish your segment of your journey of what it was like for you before, during, and what we're going to see for your future, what your doctors are planning for you, because you're so in tune with your body that you really do have their ears. And I want you to share with us next time how we get our doctor's ears.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Jasmine Pena, for doing this. I really appreciate you having this tough discussion and even invoking in me something that I had buried because, you know, the pain that I experienced in my body while I was going through this, you know, wasn't heard. So I just want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing to the end, until you transition, until God calls you home and says, Jesse, servant, well done, for your willingness to stand in the gap and tell the rest of us how to do it. Thank you so much. And I really love you, and not just because you're my sister, but because I've seen what you have gone through all these years. I've been a part of the process. I've been there with you. I even remember rolling you out one of those rehab places. So we're going to say that for next time. But thank you all so much for joining. Jasmine, you got any last words for our audience?
I do. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that you're doing this with me, and I will have to say for me. It is a part of my therapy to be able to talk about this instead of holding it in, which was causing more setbacks mentally. Thank you for the open space. Thank you for letting me know that it was okay to speak about these things and giving me courage about it. I not just as my sister, as a Black therapist, I want to let you know just how amazing you are, and you're only just getting started. So I'm along for the journey.
Well, you can't call me a therapist because, you know, I don't have an MSW or a PhD, but what I do have is my experiences, and they mean so much to me that I'm willing to share them with our community because this is how we're doing this.
So I can call you my therapist because it is therapy to me
to
be able to talk about this.
All right.
So you are a therapist.
Okay.
This is added on to my health, my well-being. Even if I wanted to give you that doctor, you know what I'm saying? Everything has a different meaning to it and a different title. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes doctors are not even doctors.
Girl, come on here. Listen, we're supposed to get off of here. You know, now they're gonna be like, now they're gonna be like, oh, she preaching, you know. But this is the nature of what we're doing. It's just to change our community, one Black woman at a time, one little girl at a time, you know, one auntie, one grandmother, one mother, one sister at a time, a friend even. Because women, we really do need to take our health seriously. You know, even if it's difficult to have these conversations. And listen, I'm preaching to myself. I ain't been to the doctor in 2 years. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
You know, so I really have been diligent in taking care of my health. That's why I post so much, and that's why I talk about it so much. Because I have to know that if a doctor doesn't have my best interest at heart, at least I should.
Yes,
take care of me.
I definitely want you to be able to share your experiences as well. And I think we can do videos on the daily.
Man,
Honestly.
we can.
Yeah. And this is where it comes to an end, right?
Right. Okay.
Until next time.
Until next time. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I love you.
Love you too.